Assalamu alaikum everyone. Once again, welcome back to the second part of our module number 10, informative and positive messages. Now, before I jump to the objectives of this lesson, let me just go through what we discussed last time in part one. So basically, we were discussing about that we receive information in different forms, face-to-face, mobile, broadcast, written, electronic. These news are related to policies, operational, persuasion, request. However, most of the information that we are receiving these days, quite generally, they are bad news, they're sad news, including the coronavirus news that's happening right now. It's terrible. However, we have to take this information in a form that is understandable, that comes as okay, that people feel better than always depressed. So I use these images here that normally people receive whatever the information they're receiving. They get depressed, they get sad, they get angry. Uh, and we have to change the mindset to a positive attitude. So, okay, after a cloud, the sun will rise again. So so that we discuss in the last lecture, and then we move to the subject lines, types of subject that has to be specific, concise, appropriate. We did some examples, and now this lesson. Now the learning objectives of this lesson. Just start the current slideshow here. Now, the learning objective of this lesson are four of them. Sorry, three of them. List common kinds of informative and positive messages. Apply strategies for informative and positive messages analysis with PayPoc. Do that, not in detail because I'm sure that you already know about this. And then create goodwill ending for informative and positive messages. Now, the first thing, okay, so what are the most common kinds of informative and positive messages? Now, don't confuse yourself with positive messages. There are small messages like WhatsApp message, Twitter message, or Instagram message. No, these messages over here means letters, okay? So we are actually sending letters out, our emails out. So these are like even reports somehow. So these are messages over here means letters to be on that side. So there are five of them. One is transmittal, one is confirmation, summaries, adjustments, and thank you notes. So what are transmittals? Transmittals are basically, you can say that these are forms of where when we transfer some information. So to this gap that we have in between, we fill the gap from one person to another person. There's a gap, so we fill that gap with transmitters. Even stick notes, for example, you're sending a message to, you're sending an attachment to someone, and then with this attachment you explain what's in that attachment. That is we call transmittals. Confirmation is let's go directly jumping into what they are and how we do that. So in transmittals, we tell the reader what's you're sending, as I already mentioned. You summarize the main points of documents, indicate any special circumstances that will help the reader understand the document. Mention that. Tell the reader what will happen next. Okay, so there are different forms that you can use transmittals for, and these are the forms. Like for example, this is just I'm giving an example here. Now, on the top, if you see that that's a format of a letter, the date is there, the name of the person that you're sending it to, the address, his position, address, and then the salutation, dear Mr. Matthews. Now, as a start, we're saying that please find enclosed a material safety data sheet and a safe handling procedure overview for high concentration of hydrogen peroxide. So from the beginning, it says, please find enclosed, which means that there is an attachment with this letter. There is an attachment that his person is sending. And then in the end, I hope you find this information useful in bringing the employees up to speed. So this is then just an example of transmittal letters. Now, moving on, as I said, that there's other letters we call confirmation letter format. Confirmation means that you confirm on something, all right? So I'm just giving an example of an interview here. Dear Mr. Kennedy, I'm delighted to have been offered an interview for the secretary position at this place. This letter is to confirm my attendance at 9:30 a.m. on May this. I am looking forward to the interview and discussing how I may be benefiting to your organization. So basically, now a person is sending back a confirmation letter that he received for an interview, and how you confirm by writing such a thing. Okay, so interview is one of the samples here. Summary letters. Now, summary letters are, there are many forms of summary letters. It's also, you may have come across in report writing. You do summaries of things that happen in the report in that big project. Anyways, so how you start summary letters? There are like four things to keep in notice here. Start with the main points in the summary. Give supporting evidence and details. Evaluate the document. Identify the action your organization should take based on the document. So you mention all these things in a summary letter. However, there is another thing that we do in a summary. So minutes of meetings. So there are lots of templates available for writing minutes of meeting in Google Docs and MS Word. Let me just jump into a few samples here. Uh, so over here, I have like Google Docs here, right? So let me just browse a little bit here. So when you open Google docs.google.com, this appears in front of you, and then you can click here, template gallery. In the template gallery, if you browse through a little down, you'll find like minute notes. These are templates here. So if I click one of them, it will open, and then you can see what actually goes inside the template of minutes of meeting, and which is very important. All right, so it's opening. So annual board meeting was there, Friday date is there, who attended, what's the agenda, what are the notes to take away from this meeting, what are the action items, next meeting agenda items. So now this is another example. Now if I go to the Word document here, so there are some Microsoft MS Word also has some templates, and that we can use of meeting. So over here, uh, now over here, if you go click new, and you will find, I just wrote here many meetings. So and some education meetings, blue safari meetings. So there are templates available for any purpose here. And you see the categories here in Word on a document that they have categories of templates. So these are like things that you can actually do easily. Now going back to our screen sharing. Now going back to our document here. All right, so this is another example. Let's move on to the next bit of the now. The next bit that we have in our lesson is adjustment letters. Now, adjustment letters are basically complaint letters coming from customers. So if something bad happened with the product that you have used or a service that you have used, so customer complaints about it, and how you actually reply back to the customer. We have to be, again, we're trying to create a goodwill, we're trying to create a good image, we're trying to have a relationship. So these letters are very important in that sense. We don't want a customer to be angry all the time. We want the customer to come back to us. Now this is just a sample of let's say an exotic destination place in London. And so the manager that is actually writing to a customer here, dear Mrs. Hopper, thank you for your letter of 7th of December. We're sorry to hear that you and your husband did not enjoy your recent Golden Group holiday in Tunisia, and apologize if the tour reps behavior was inappropriate. So this they actually made an apology here at the beginning, which says that they haven't made a mistake. But at the same time, they reassure you this behavior is not the kind of we normally tolerate, and we will be looking into the allegation fully and taking any necessary action. So if they had come across that the tour rep was misbehaving, so we will actually look into it. So they're actually telling this to a customer, showing that we show concern for you, and we will look into it. Now in the second half, they're saying that we would however like to draw attention to the fact that our reps are highly trained, whatever their age, and that we do not specify how old they are in our brochures. Okay, so yeah, so this is good. They make sure that they are trained enough, and they're highlighting that also. But at the beginning, we have apologize. And sometimes it is possible that an adjustment letter, there is a compensation for your customers. You want to refund something to them, so you can mention that. So this is just another form of differentiation between informative and positive message examples. Now thank you notes basically means that it could be you're making thank you to someone that he had done something really good, or it's a congratulation notes also. So I'm giving an example of a congratulations here. Dear Emily, congratulations. I just got word that you are now the store manager of papers and clips at Everett. Okay, so this is a congratulation note coming from, let's say, an old colleague for that organization. Remember what I told you when I left Everett for corporate? Look where you are right now. I had always admired your dedication and attention to detail when you work, and I know that you would not find someone better for the position other than you. Dave wouldn't find. I wish you all the best to everyone there. I said hi, congratulations. So this is like a thank you notes that you actually sent. Now, moving on to the next agenda of our objective here. How can I apply what I've learned in this module? This module is about informative and positive messages through letters. Okay, so we have done so much here, even when we just seen some examples of for different types of informative messages. There are five of them. We just saw some examples here. So remember, we have to use these six letters that we did earlier. One is P for purpose, A for the audience, I for information that you want to share. So, and B for benefits. We always look for reader benefits. We see any objections, if any objections is there from the reader. And last is a context. Always remember that there is a context, how the context affect reader response. So these six letters actually tell us, uh, tell us, make sure that we follow these six letters while composing any letter, any form of letter. What are the purpose, or in writing, why we are writing this for the reader, who is the reader here, who is my audience here, what they actually expect from us, what feeling they will have after receiving this information, uh, and what information should I add to my message? Is there any benefit for my reader audience who will read this? Is there any benefits? Is there any advantages for them? So think about. So we have to think about such things. And will they object on anything that we expect from them? Is there any objection we can expect that? And what are the context? Context basically again is meaning that they understand what we are trying to say here, right? They understand the background of this information that we're going to share with them. Next, last thing of this lesson is about writing a goodwill ending. In goodwill ending, focus on business relationship you share with your reader. So this is very important, and we want to build relationships, and we actually emphasize on that we keep a relationship with them, either professional or informal or formal, whatever grounds are. When you write to one person, a good last paragraph fits the personal specifically. That person specifically to that. When you write to someone who represents an organization, the last paragraph can refer to your company relationship with the reader's organization. So this is important here. This is an example over here how to end a letter. So this is goodwill ending. So how we do that formally and informally. Over here I've given like simplest, most useful. People normally use in letters: sincerely, regards, you're truly, you're sincerely. So people are normally using these. Slightly more personal, best regards, cordially, you're respectful. So basically, if you know the person, he's your friend, he's your colleague, he's your as a supervisor, you can use these best regards, cordially, or you're respectfully. But if it's a stranger, it's an outside customer, it's a client, sincerely regards, you're truly, you're sincerely. More personal, only used when appropriate to the letter's content, warm regards, best wishes. So now you're talking to your friend here. Not to use these things, letter closing to avoid, always, cheers, love, take care. So we normally don't use such things, right? And closing of goodwill. Now, again, as a summary of writing a goodwill ending, things that we have to keep in mind: compliment the reader for the job well done, describing the reader benefit, looking forward to something positive that relates to subject of the message. So you can actually mention these things Now, another aspect for ending let's say, letter or email, best way to end a letter or email message. Your closing needs to leave the reader with positive feeling about you and the letter you have written. In closing your letter, it is important to use an appropriate, respectful, and professional word or phrases. All right, so thank you very much for listening, and I hope you understood the whole lesson. If there are any issues, do let me know by through email, through Blackboard. And once again, as always, try to take care of yourself and your family while keeping indoors. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.